audience tonight. Thank you. Every day, over 1 million dreams die. It doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, we've all had a dream that has died along the way in this journey that we call life. Where will you draw the line? And when will you say, enough is enough? What will it take for you to finally take control of your life and pursue your dreams? When we're in our childhood, we tend to be creative and curious. We're trying to figure out what the world is all about, and we think that anything is possible. We're living as if life, there are no limits. That's how we're living. And then we break the rules. Some of us, we don't listen to our parents, and then we face the consequences for those actions. But aside from all of this, we are ambitious like nobody else. We have high hopes and dreams that we can do anything. I know I did. I wanted to be a doctor, an engineer, and a basketball player all at the same time. And that was just my dream. And many people thought, you're crazy. But that was my dream. And what's interesting is, as we age, these high hopes and dreams that we set ourselves when we're young tend to fade, and they die. And we settle for less than we originally planned to. Why is this? Well, it's because of something called limits. But who determines these limits? So some, these limits may be you're not tall enough, you're not fast enough, you're too young, you're too old. But who determines this? Is it you? Or is it society and the people around you, the ones closest to you, that determine these limits for you, and you just accept them as reality, and you don't do anything about it? But what if I were to tell you that you are truly capable of achieving anything you set your mind to? That it is possible. That it doesn't matter how old you are, how tall you are, how fast you are, that you are limitless. But all that matters is a matter of 3 different components, and those are self-confidence, perseverance, and my personally favorite, perspective. Let me take you back to my childhood. I grew up in poverty. I didn't have much. My parents were Bosnian refugees who came to the United States with nothing but the clothes on their backs and a grocery bag. They didn't speak a lick of English, but they worked really, really hard. My parents worked 2 jobs each to support me because they had a dream that they were going to give me a life that they never had before. I moved from apartment to apartment because my parents wanted to raise me in a better environment. I was curious all about what the world has to offer. I wanted to strive for great things, but I didn't speak English myself either. I didn't have much. To many people, I had limits. I couldn't speak English. I came from poverty, didn't have much, didn't have friends either. But I believed differently. When I was young, I told myself that one day I was going to be an inspiration, that I wanted to help a lot of people. I didn't know how I was going to do this, but I knew from a very young age that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be somebody. And I wasn't going to stop and let anybody stop me either. So I remember when I went to school my first day, I remember holding my mom's hand, and I was going to the classroom. And we walk in, and so on my first day of school, as a kid, I thought that everybody spoke a different language, and we're all going to learn English together. Quickly, I learned that was not the case. I walk in that room with my mom, holding her hand tight, and all of a sudden I see all these kids speak English except me. And at that point, I knew I was screwed. But I also knew that I had a choice. When I turned around, my mom was gone. My heart sank. Now I knew that I had no other choice. I had to learn the English language. And they didn't have a program at school, but I knew I had to learn it if I wanted to continue with my life, if I wanted to grow, if I wanted to be bigger. And so we didn't have a program in school at the time to learn me English. And so I would sit down and watch my classmates speak to one another and listen, and then I would try it with somebody else, that same conversation. And so I did that, and then I went home. I would watch TV shows, American TV shows. I would watch Hollywood films, and then I would also read a lot of books. And within 2 years, I learned how to speak English, and I was reading more books than anybody in my class. By third grade, I taught my parents the United States citizenship test, which was over 100 questions about United States history and government. And I learned those as a third grader. And then taught them, and they passed on the first try. And I knew I was pushing hard, and I knew I wanted to be somebody. But when I turned 16 years old, wake up and do the same thing over and over again, I wasn't happy with my life. I felt like I had limits, and that I was living as if I had no purpose. So I decided I was going to change that. I was going to pursue that dream as a kid that I wanted to help a lot of people. And I want to be an inspiration for other kids in my community and communities around the world. And so I decided that I'm going to start my own nonprofit organization. I made a big mistake when I did this. The biggest mistake I made was I went to tell everybody about this idea. And they all said the same thing. They said, "You're too young, you're crazy, and you need to do what everybody else your age is doing. You don't need to be doing that." And I went back in my room and I felt sad. I felt that depression again. Then I realized I still have a choice. I can either choose to change my life, and maybe it will work, and I'll get what I want. Or I can sit there and do nothing. So I started Young Visionaries Foundation when I was 16 years old. We held, first year when we did this, we only had 3 or 4 volunteers help us. And I felt like I was failing. I was thinking about quitting, giving up. But I decided to keep pushing. And after our first year, most nonprofits do 2 or 3 events in a year. We did 9 our first year. And what we did was we would give turkeys out to families in need for Thanksgiving. During International Women's Day, we bought bouquets of roses and got young kids involved to thank women in their communities and thank them for everything they do for us. And then for Christmas time, we would buy books for the kids and then just inspire and encourage them, get your education, to push that drive in them. And then I received the National Caring Award in Mother Teresa's name. I received the Nobel Peace Prize for Public Service, also known as the Jefferson Award. And then I decided I was so ambitious going into this. Hey, we got over 1,000 people volunteering with us. I want to have another dream. And so I decided, I was 18 years old, I said, I'm going to write my own book. And guess what happened? I made the same mistake. I went to tell everybody about this idea, and guess what happened? They said, "You're crazy, you're too young, and you need to do what everybody else your age is doing. You don't need to be doing that." I didn't listen to them first time, and great things happened. So the second time, I decided, I'm not going to do it either. I'm going to write this book. And so what happened was, I worked 3 jobs. It was my first semester at university. I worked 3 jobs, going to school, help my family. I'm 18 years old, and I'm meeting with publishing companies. I want them to publish my book. I worked hard for it. I worked 5 months. I missed meals, 3 jobs. I had lost a lot of sleep, and now all it needs to do is be published. And they said, kid, you're crazy. This book is not going to sell. You should just focus, get your degree first, go to university. You don't need to be doing this. My heart sank again. And I told myself, I worked this hard, and I'm not going to give up. So I self-published the book. Upon its release on Amazon, it debuted #2 with best-selling charts. Sold out in my local store, first 11 hours it was out. And I believed in myself. And then I decided to be more ambitious. I said, wow, I'm on a roll. I want to start my own company now. And we're going to help businesses grow online. And man, I tell you, I did the same mistake. I went to everybody else again. I said, I'm going to do this. I felt like I've done so much now, they should believe in me. Same thing happened. They said, you're crazy, you're too young, you need to focus on what everybody else is doing. Did I listen? No. Started my own company, Visionary Media. And we help businesses around the world grow online. Well, I've crushed all these mental limits that people put on me. All these limits, I crushed them. There are no limits. And the crazy thing is that you are truly capable of achieving anything. As kids, we are taught to listen to our parents, listen to people older than you. Always ask before you do anything. Always. And we're programmed as children to listen and always ask. And we never make decisions for ourselves. And that's a problem. That's a problem because then you live life with limits. You're limited. Because you value other people's opinions about yourself more than your own. More than your own. And there's 3 things that I mentioned. How can you be limitless? How can you go out to do great things and let go of your limits that you have, that society and people close to you, your family, your teachers that told you that you can't do it because of this and this and that? How are you going to let go of these limits? Well, it starts with self-confidence. You have to believe in yourself before anybody else can believe in you. You have to believe in yourself before anybody else can. Because this is your life. It's not your mom's life. It's not your dad. It's not your teacher's life. It's not anybody else. It's your life. You are the captain of your ship. So why are you letting somebody else navigate it for you? And then you get mad when it's not going the direction that you wanted. Self-confidence. We struggle with this. We don't believe in ourselves. You know you can do it. You just want to ask other people to give them an excuse for you not to do it. What's crazy is many of you in this room, you care more about what the person sitting next to you has to say about you and their beliefs on your potential over yourself. Over yourself. You put more value on what other people have to say than what you think here, what you believe is you. Nobody knows you better than yourself. And the next thing is perseverance. What this means is that you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to achieve your dreams, to do what you want to do in your life. You have to be willing to do anything, whatever it takes. But last but not least is perspective. This is my favorite. Life is all about how you view it. When I wake up in the morning, when I woke up this morning, I got out on my 2 legs. And I was thankful to be able to do that because I know someone else in the world didn't get to do that. That's how you can live a life without limits and not be depressed. You can be happy. You do things that you want to do. It's your life. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. I failed along the way. I wanted my book to hit #1, but it didn't. I wanted to get published by a publishing company. It didn't. These things happen, but it doesn't mean you need to give up. It means you need to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to view life. If you wake up in the morning and you're mad and upset and sad, I'll be the first person to tell you, you're not going to have a good day. You're not. Because you go into work, you're like, oh, I got to work today. And guess what? You're going to take that with you to work, and everybody else is going to see it, and guess what they're going to do? Oh, I got to work. That's how influential we are as people. Remember when I said, you care more about what other people think about you than your own self. One person has the ability to influence your life. But you got to let that figure be yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can do anything. Be willing to do anything. But most importantly, understand that life is all about how you look at it. If you view a task at hand, a job, that it's going to be hard, it will be hard. If you go in with the attitude and the mindset, I can do this. I can do this. You will most likely do it, if not get close to it. So to end my speech, I want you to let you know that you can live your life without limits. When people tell you we are limited, there's no such thing as being limitless, that's false. Because you can do anything. You can push your body to the limits like I did. You can go on and achieve your dreams, all the ones that you wanted to do as a kid, that people told you as you got older that you can't do it, that you got limits, that you can't do it because you're too old, too young, that you're not tall enough, that you're not fast enough. You can achieve your life. All it takes is believing in yourself, doing whatever it takes to make it happen, and realizing that you have one life, not 9 like cats do, but you got one. So don't blow it. Thank you.